Are you saying giraffes, or are you saying?
I'm saying either.
Oh, okay.
It's a play on words that they have.
Is it drafts? Is it like as in drafting something? Like I'm a draftsman.
It's like you're drafting a giraffe.
Oh, okay.
If you understand what I mean.
Okay, so I'm drafting. I'm drafting a draft, and also have a beer of that name that's on draft.
Yes.
In the world of conspiracies, the supernatural, and the downright spooky, there are only two men who you can trust: Denis Len and Roger O'Sullivan, or as they prefer to be called, the Unexplained Legends. What is existence? A question which has plagued humanity since the dawn of time. There are even those who believe it is nothing more than a simulation, the stuff of science fiction, surely. Or is it? This week on Unexplained Legends, the simulation theory.
Welcome, listeners, to this week's episode of The Unexplained Legends. I'm Roger O'Sullivan, and with me, as always, is...
Denis Len.
Wow, that bodes well. You forgot your own name.
I took a lovely sup of coffee and then I forgot where we were.
Okay, well, we'll see if that holds up now, if that story holds up. And together,
I'm in flying form today.
Are you?
I'm in flying form.
Okay.
I'm in great form.
Together we are The Unexplained Legends. Dennis, you've been you were out last night.
I was out last night. I was playing some board games. And to my utter dying shame, while I'm playing Guess Who, a guy comes in, right, and he's a real slick looking fucker, and he comes in with his girlfriend. He sits down on the table next to us, and he has a chessboard. And I'm like, that's not why you come to the games cafe, you show off.
He brought his own chessboard.
Go out to the park. You know, we're playing Jenga and shit in here, not your chess crap. And the two of them pretending to play chess then for like an hour.
To be honest, for me, I think chess gets more than it deserves.
Why do you say that?
Because I'm personally a checkers proponent. I feel like there's a bit, because people always talk about always built this supercomputer that's like can beat the world's champion at chess. They've never done it for checkers.
Are you Chinese or European checkers?
I'm European checkers, but I'm not opposed to Chinese checkers. Yeah.
No one said you were, man.
No unless it's the guy checking Chinese people. That's not on.
Totally different. Different.
That is not on. Why are you doing
for clarifying.
That? Yeah. But
how are you doing? You having a good day today?
Oh yeah. I've been.
What have you been up to? Doing a calisthenics workout?
Yeah. I've been trying my absolute best to touch my toes to my face. Just really trying to get like more flexible.
Touch your toes to your face?
Yeah.
Wait, in a standing up or sitting down position?
Standing up. Just trying to get more flexible this year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just
nice. How close are you?
I'm not that close, to be honest. Well, my problem is when I try to do it, I actually like bend in too quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I won't tell you where I end up.
Are you still trying to get that thing of removing some of your ribs?
No, I'm not going to do that anymore because the problem with that is I was going to do it when I was going over to get my teeth done, but I'm not going to get my teeth done now for another few years. So,
but you've already got them foiled down, so you're not going to get the actual veneers on them.
I liked the look. That was what happened with me. Is when I got them foiled down to put the veneers on, I actually liked the look.
But it just looks like there's a lot of pipes in your mouth. Yeah,
but I think that you often see rappers with stuff like that now.
Yeah, grills.
Yeah.
But just pipes. You know what's really, really funny, right? Could you imagine being Michael Jackson or... actually, I won't mention the other guy, but I mean, they're both equally as bad.
Who's the other guy? You're not mentioning him.
Could you imagine being Michael Jackson and you just hear a rumor about you and it's like, oh, what's the latest rumor? Oh, they're saying you removed some of your ribs because you could suck your own dick.
And how did they find out? How did they find that out?
And people want to be celebrities, and it's like I remember that in school, like people in hushed tones saying, "Do you hear about Michael Jackson?" Yeah. And it's like, what do we know him? Like, does he live down the road?
I've definitely said this joke before. It's on the podcast. My friend Ronan's joke.
I don't think you can say it again. Then can you?
No, I'll say it.
Okay.
It's a good joke. It's been making me laugh since he came up with it when we were like 14. The other person you weren't going to mention. Is their name MM?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's that guy, right?
Okay, brilliant.
But
they'll never figure it out.
Yeah, but the joke around him was that Ronan said one day, proud as punch that he'd come up with it, I'd say. He said, "Did you hear about him? He had to get a rib put back in because he couldn't stop sucking his own cock."
Very
which
good.
beautiful inversion.
It's a reverse.
Yeah, beautiful inversion.
It's a reverse.
To this day, yeah, if I want to cheer myself up, I'll just think of that joke and I'll start laughing.
All right, what are we doing this week?
This week, Dennis, we're doing a very, very special topic. This topic is, I think I mentioned this to you, that over Christmas I went hardcore on like going into the cerebral world of the unexplained.
Okay, cerebral world of unexplained.
Yeah. Nothing else hardcore, right? Off the back of that, coming into this year, I'm shaking it up.
Yeah? You're going back to your roots?
No, I'm not. No, fuck the roots, yeah? I'm shaking things up, Dennis. I'm bringing kind of genres of things that we haven't explored on this podcast
Nice.
before.
Or as my friend likes to call them, genres.
Genres, yeah. These are going to be hard-thinking episodes, okay? Hard thinking. It's designed to get the audience on their toes and to laugh, live, and learn.
Is it kind of like in the 50s and 60s when the CIA just started giving like LSD to cats, and I'm a cat and you're giving me LSD?
So there are some episodes that are like that.
I like that you considered the comparison. That was very good.
Because I'm thinking about an episode in a week or two's time, which isn't far off like that. But this, Dennis, is, I think, easing you into it. Today, Dennis, we're covering something called simulation theory.
Okay, all right. Okay. I think I know what this is.
Yeah.
I think I know what this is.
Yeah. You'll notice that yesterday I asked you when I knew you were going out. I was like, "Will you be all right for the podcast now tomorrow?" Mm-hmm. And you said, "Yes, Mom." And the reason I said that, Dennis, is because I knew that there was a chance that if we did this topic while you were hungover, there'd be no getting out of that hangover.
People, the last time I was hungover, people really responded quite well to me being negatively battered in that episode, which was...
It was the gateway process.
The gateway process, if you want to check that out. I'm very hungover in that one, and Roger tries to blow up my mind.
Yeah.
So simulation theory, everything is a simulation. Is that what we're looking at? Like that we're in a simulation.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way.
And we might be NPCs.
Well, I'm probably not, but
Yeah, okay, I'm an NPC, fine.
Yeah.
I'm the one asking all the questions, and I'm the NPC.
You're a non-player character.
Okay.
I'm a protagonist.
So I just want to say off the back of this, right? This week, I have been pretty much crumbling with existential crisis after existential crisis.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my January party trick. I go home, love Christmas, and then I come back and I crumble to bits, right? Waves of dread constantly every single day, right? I'm saying this in a very upbeat tone, but that's just to cover up the misery. And the episode that you've decided to do is basically an episode questioning our existence.
Yeah.
And I just feel good today, and you've just banged that in this morning.
Well, the thing for me is that I saw you all week, obviously, going through the horrors.
Yep.
And I said, oh, gee, he's really having some existential problems. Well, why wouldn't I take away the existence for him?
Yeah, you're just saying,
no problems.
What? I'm going to catch the back of your head and we're both going to stare into the abyss together.
Yeah, just going to come around, just a few lads stare into the black hole.
Yeah.
Jesus, there's nothing like staring into the old abyss. What's that staring back at me? Will we crack on with the old lamestream narrative, Dennis? What you know, you can't explain, but you feel it. You've felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. This is a speech which Morpheus gives in the hit movie The Matrix, moments before explaining to the protagonist Neo. What?
Oh. Go on.
What?
Oh, come on.
What?
You just started off with a Matrix quote.
Yes. I watched The Matrix last night to prepare for this.
To prepare for it.
Yeah.
It's a movie, Roger. You're talking like it's a documentary or something.
It's more than a movie, Dennis. It's more than a movie. It's a way of life, man.
Oh, my God.
Actually, do you want to know a little tidbit I picked up this time watching it?
Yeah. You can just tell me.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, we don't like fact.
Oh, come on! It was a joke.
We don't like
it was
fact
a joke
consent on this, do we? But watching The Matrix, right? I'm sure you've heard this theory that both of the Wachowskis are now trans women, and
that's not the theory, though.
No, that's not the theory. No, that's confirmed. There'll be no episode on that. Or a lot of people have speculated that the Matrix itself has ties to the journey of coming out as trans and interpreting gender hierarchies and stuff. And the Wachowskis have said, yeah, that's in there. And then there have been detractors saying, oh, they're just going back and retroactively saying that's the case, right? I sit down to watch it last night. The very first screen of the movie, once it starts, is a line of text that goes across and says trans operative. Oh, also something that happened while I was researching this. I started reading loads of Morpheus quotes. They're just the most fun thing to say.
Are they nonsense?
No, they're unreal.
Give me one then.
I just gave you one there at the start.
Okay, no more.
We've
Morpheus quotes at home.
Yeah. Okay, do you want another Morpheus quote?
I wouldn't mind one. Yeah, just get my morning going. Oh. So people are turning Morpheus quotes into like how to be successful at business.
Or just be successful in life. So will I give you the top 5 here? Okay,
go on.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, just before you start, I feel neutral right now. That's my mood. I feel neutral. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how I feel after each quote.
Okay. And imagine I'm saying them directly to you. Okay. Like about you. Okay.
Okay.
You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, that's not far from the truth.
-2, very confusing.
Okay, that's fair. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. That was just about the movie.
+1, because I like the movie.
Okay, there we go. And maybe, I said I was going to do 5, but maybe I'll just do one more.
Okay.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this. And then Morpheus holds up a battery, it says here.
+1, love batteries.
There we go.
You have a pretty good Morpheus voice.
I won't lie to you.
Have you been practicing that?
I won't lie to you. I genuinely have a load of voice memos I was sending Ronan.
As Morpheus?
Yeah, just as Morpheus.
Ronan's kind of turning into kind of a third person here now, isn't he?
Like a little character,
like a producer. Bring that up, Ronan.
And it's always the wrong thing. we haven't made it too far into the mainstream narrative.
No, we haven't.
I thought the Matrix quote would settle us in. It did the opposite of that. So
it drove us mad.
To ease us back in again, Morpheus gets Neo, says that quote, and then explains to him that the reality which we perceive is in fact a sophisticated simulation, merely designed to keep humanity under control. Right? An amazing piece of science fiction, to be sure. But there have long been those who have questioned whether this hypothesis is more realistic than we're willing to admit.
If we were in a simulation, and you'll be able to maybe get into this a little bit more in the episode later on. If we were in a simulation, surely there would be a movie about the simulation to make it less believable that we're in a simulation. That would happen.
That seems feasible to me. That all checks out.
You know, so here we are staring at. I mean, they made 3 of them, so they must have been really sweating.
Oh, they
must have thought
they
we
made
were figuring it out. A 4th one, I haven't even seen it.
A 4th one,
Revolutions
recently,
or something.
Because Resurrections. The 4th one because they were like, okay, they're thinking it's real again. Come on, fucking bring the movie back.
Oh, erections.
Yeah, that's the way it's stylized on the movie poster.
Comic Sans for RES and then erections.
And
impact.
then erections. Yeah. I think you could be onto something there. The simulation self-replicates like media to dissuade you from the simulation. I wouldn't have. Just before we continue as well, I have to say my feelings on this theory changed in a scary way while I was researching and putting together this. So I'll be interested to see if the same thing happens to you.
So where did you start with? Like, what was your...
I started thinking it would be an interesting topic to talk about, and I ended somewhere where I think maybe it's more than just interesting.
So you've gone completely down the rabbit hole. You have taken the orange pill.
I can't. I can't really divulge that yet. He's on to us. No, I'll get to that after we get through the old mainstream narrative. Right, like I said, throughout history, people have thought about these kinds of questions about reality. Famously, Plato's cave analogy asks us how our perception of reality may itself be faulty. Similarly, I didn't know this, right? But the Aztec culture of Mesoamerica, they had a philosophical understanding that our reality may merely be a painting or a book conceived by greater beings, like beyond our comprehension. They're gods, essentially.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, that blew my mind, because you're just thinking that these people in like the 1300s or whatever, that they're even conceiving the equivalent then of like, oh, maybe we're just in a book.
But there's an amazing comic book that I read before called Animal Man, if you've ever read it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a brilliant, brilliant book. Anyone out there, read it. If you've never read a comic book before, read that. You'll love it. But in that, I think it's... what's evil Superman? What's he? He's like Bizarro Superman or something.
Yeah.
But he's a big dude. Sorry, comic book nerds, if I got that wrong. Or if I'm even naming the wrong comic book. But in that, he goes through a comic pain. And like he bursts out of it.
Them.
And because they've started questioning like whether or not they're in a comic, like throughout it. And then he gets thrown out through one, and then they all start like freaking out and stuff. And I think I was like, this is so cool, but also made me go a bit crazy. So now when you're saying this, that we could be part of one.
Well,
it just seems to be a huge comic book though. It's too big, isn't it? Like for all of us to have to, like, you know, people going off getting hummus and stuff. You know, like are gods really painting all that?
We'll get to that, Dennis.
Okay.
Right? Even to this very day, there are rational-minded academics who truly question whether we may indeed be living within a simulation. The simulation hypothesis, or simulation theory, as it is also known, is the belief that our reality, as we know it, is merely a hyper-advanced simulation created and perpetuated by future humanity, or hyper-intelligent alien beings. Proponents of this theory range from those who genuinely believe it to those who merely think it's philosophically worth interrogating whether it is true. I started on the latter end, and listen, we'll get to how I ended up. But the philosopher Nick Bostrom is often credited with popularizing simulation theory in modern times. And although he himself says he doesn't necessarily believe we are living within a simulation, he does not think it's impossible. He proposes his theory by way of something called a trilemma. Are you familiar with this?
Is that like a little bit worse than a dilemma?
It's, dilemma 2, trilemma 3. You're like, oh God.
I've never had a trilemma.
One in the kitchen, one in the bedroom, one in the toilet. They're going to be in the hallway, Dennis. Yeah, so the trilemma argument, right? The trilemma he uses to phrase his simulation argument. It suggests that there's 3 statistically unlikely scenarios. But he claims that one of them must be true. Okay, so that's how we're breaking in this trilemma.
Okay.
So are you ready for the scenarios?
Give me the 3 of them.
Okay. Scenario number 1, Dennis. The fraction of human-level civilizations that reach a post-human stage, right, that is one that's capable of running this like super powerful simulation to begin with.
Yeah.
Is very close to 0.
Okay.
So that's theory number 1, is that...
So have they worked it out that to get that technology, we probably would have died off due to thousands of other reasons or whatever?
Yeah, so this is why I think on the face of it, if you don't look into these things, you can sit back and go, that's not, so what if it's close to 0? What that means, right, depending on how close you think we are to building these hyper advanced simulations, that first one is essentially saying that no life in all of the universe ever makes it past kind of at the stage where we are now. That something happens, some great filter, like that we're just, we either get wiped out, like you said, like we destroy ourselves, nuclear annihilation, something like that. But that's essentially, there's more implications to that first one than just, who cares if we never get the iPhone 27, Number 2, the fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running simulations of their evolutionary history or variations thereof is very close to 0.
All right, so they don't think that, let's say, our society, would, if we're not a simulation, would ever be interested in running one. Is that what that means?
Yeah, I'll put it to you like this. If we got to a super advanced level, do you think that we would like to run a simulation of what happened in like the Renaissance period? And just to see... to get a better understanding of what it was.
I actually think we probably would.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think if you got to a super advanced level, you have basically everything else is sorted and taken care of.
Yeah.
So you never have to think about food and whatever. It probably doesn't even, it's probably gone, like as in it's probably just total fuel at this stage. like in terms of taste and everything. So then you'd probably revert back from like advancement to nearly playing games.
Yeah, so this one, like, that's highly unlikely that we would get to an advanced level and not want to make simulations of our own past, because we already have the Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, it's what we do every day of the week.
Yeah, so we do that now. So that's number 2. That must be close to 0, right?
Yeah.
If we're saying that we don't live in a simulation. And number 3, then, Dennis, the fraction of all people with our kind of experiences that are living in a simulation is very close to 1.
How does he work that out?
So he figures it can't be 0.
Okay.
If there are people living in a simulation in reality. So this one's probably the most chilling. He's saying that if we don't live in a simulation, then all likelihood is that the number of people or beings that are experiencing living in a simulation is close to 1. So maybe only you're in the simulation.
Wait, you mean one person? No.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I thought it was like 1%. You know.
No. Well, it's less than 1% if you think about it.
Yeah. So just one person.
Yeah. It's close to 1 because you can't have like a less than 1 in a simulation. You know?
Yeah.
So that's chilling in itself. If we're saying, okay, we're not all in a simulation, but we're accepting that at least one being in the universe is in a simulation, is in one of these hyper advanced simulations. And it could be you, as the National Lottery says.
Yeah. Is there any way I can find that out? No.
It says here, jumping off a window.
Okay, we can do that. We can sort that out.
Yeah,
that's mad. It's funny though to think about that second one. I think that's actually one of the most interesting ones. Just in terms of immediately, my mind was like, no, if we were super advanced, we would do that.
exactly.
Shit. Like we definitely would probably have a simulation running.
That's exactly where I was.
But
with this,
with number 1, then I think that's interesting because we probably will reach the level where we might just blow ourselves up. But at the same time, I think there's, you know, with all the universes out there, maybe we're just talking about one universe in this case. But let's just keep it one universe.
Yeah.
In this universe, there probably has to be one civilization that just flukes it, just gets through and becomes super advanced.
That's funny because when you said we should only stick to this universe, because I felt like you were in kind of an only one universe mood.
No, I'm at least several.
Oh, really? Oh,
6 to 9.
I saw a look on your face that flashed across. It was like, if there's a second universe right now.
Did you see how quiet I got when you were explaining those theories?
Yeah,
I was like, fuck, what's number 3?
Yeah.
No, I think that's cool, though. But I definitely think there has to be... So if we work this through, right, there has to be one civilization out there that has got past the danger point.
This is exactly where I was, right? If one gets past...
Then there has to be a simulation.
Yeah.
So there definitely are simulations out there.
Yeah.
Which then brings us to number 3, which says that there has to be at least one person in a simulation.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think I can believe that there is a simulation out there.
Yeah.
Shit.
So essentially, right, in this argument, Bostrom sets out that we acknowledge the fact that if it is possible that someday technology will advance to the level where we create a flawless simulation of reality, the likelihood that we live within one of these realities has just exponentially grown. So if we just acknowledge that we think someday humanity will be able to build one of these simulations, then instantly, like, the likelihood that we live within one has just become so much more likely. Now, if you're from another point of view and you think that we just simply will never have the technology, which I think is kind of foolish, then, you know, I guess you could assuage yourself with that and say, I can just relax back here.
You know what I just had a thought about, and you've done this to me, right?
Yeah.
This is not a nice thing to be thinking about. Let's say if there is a heaven, right? And you go to heaven.
Yeah.
And did you ever just like desperately miss someone, or like, you know, like you have memories of a previous life, but now you're dead. And then you go up to heaven and you are that person up there and you're completely locked away from the world that you used to live in. That sounds kind of like hell. Like that, especially if you, like, let's say you die young.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't it sound like you're just trapped in a glass box? Like, as in, all your friends are there. You're seeing, like, I assume you're seeing them, you know, grow up and whatever without you. You're seeing, let's say, the love of your life maybe go on. Maybe you're happy for them, maybe you're not, but like they go on and have kids and they have a life that you never had. And you're just viewing this. But they always view it as if like that person is happy. But That sounds like fucking hell.
Well, I don't know why we've jumped over into whether or not heaven or hell exists.
Well, the reason I said it is because, like, with a simulation, there's almost, and I'll hop back and forth on this, but there's almost a comfort in being a simulation.
Yeah, definitely.
Because once it turns off, it's off.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's almost like a freedom thing. Like, it's like, okay, cool.
Well,
I don't have to worry about it.
This might be taking us in too much of a tangent, but I once heard somebody describe this idea of like a quantum state of heaven, where, like you said there, oh no, like, you know, you've seen things experience or happen in their own way. That when you reach heaven, if you do, it's a reconciliation of all of the universes where you did and didn't do all of those things.
Oh, cool.
So you ascend consciousness to such a level that you couldn't imagine it as a human.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's kind of where I have gone before as well in my head. Not that all of the universes would come together. I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
But that you would go into a place that we can't understand and will never be able to conceive, pretty much.
Do you know where it is? It's the Leisureplex in Cork.
I fucking knew it. Leisureplex in Cork has at least 8 bowling lanes.
8 bowling lanes.
All the floors are sticky and you might get killed if you walk out the back.
Terrible pool tables as well. I used to play a lot of pool there.
Yeah, pool shark?
Yeah. Well,
hustling?
Yeah.
Do you have a little case?
I did, yeah. And I used to take it out. I had those gloves as well. Do you know those?
Nice.
They're like driving gloves, yeah. I was, a different time for me. Different time.
They used to call you Chalk Sullivan.
Yeah, they used to. But I fucking, man, I was kicked out.
Why? Hustling?
Yeah, because I started pool hustling down the bowling lanes.
That's where you're gone.
They didn't like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I bet I can get a strike with this. Giant pool cue. Giant, right? And I've lined up all the balls down the bowling alley. And I fucking fly ball one day, smashed through a load-bearing wall. Whole side of the Leisureplex
my God.
came down.
It's amazing as well. That pool cue was so large. You had to construct it inside the Leisureplex at night, didn't you?
Yeah, it was so big that when I pulled back to line up my shot, it went out the front wall and smashed into 2 cars.
And through the cars and into a load-bearing wall and down came
a load-bearing wall of the building across the road.
Of the Pleasurelecks.
It was fucking desperate, man. But anyway, Dennis, if we do live within a simulation, what does that mean for the great mysteries of our lives? Does quantum mechanics merely behave strangely as a result of some poorly programmed corner of the world? Are ghosts merely artifacts of old simulations? Or indeed, are aliens and UFOs just glitches within the metaphorical matrix? One thing is for sure. Whether or not we live in a simulation is to this day unexplained.
You know, you'd make a great priest.
Do you think so?
A very good priest.
Why?
You have a great sermon voice.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
You know the way you're like saying, contemplate this, contemplate that.
I'm bringing us back in.
This is the message. I felt like I was at mass there.
I don't think that's a good thing. And the Lord said, if you read between the lines here, what I'm really talking about is aliens. And giants, maybe. Amen.
Well, I mean, a good mass.
I've never once heard anyone describe mass as anything other than boring.
We had a cool priest.
Did you?
Yeah. Until the stuff came up. But we had a cool priest up until then.
He was too cool.
Yeah, way too cool.
He was too cool to be letting your schools
Coolophile.
So, now Dennis, now that we're through the old lamestream narrative, you can understand where I got to.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. This is the okay, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Right? I need you to be completely honest with me.
All right.
This guy you're talking about.
Nick Bostrom, yeah.
Yeah. Is he on the level? Like, is this guy like a real dude? Like he's like on the fella would be the guy with the keyboard who'd be talking and stuff who's dead.
He's not on his level.
Yeah, but he's like if there was a cocktail party, he might go to it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, he's not a whack job living in a caravan in the desert. That's just what I want to know.
Do you want to see him?
I don't know how that's going to clear it up.
I think if you have a look at him, I think you'd have a. He doesn't look like a whack job, does he?
That man looks like a simulation.
No,
there's a Hitman, like Hitman Agent 47. He looks like a clone. That's comically clonish. That man.
Well, you think so?
Name something descriptive about him, like other than his bald head.
He looks. I don't want to get rude about it, but he looks a bit like the engineers from the like Prometheus movies.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like a handsome man to me. Tall, kind of, broad shoulders.
If he committed a crime, no one would be able to pick him out in the lineup. In Baldville, obviously.
He went to the University of Gothenburg, went to Stockholm University, went to King's College London, and then finally London School of Economics.
Hitler went to college, didn't he?
Not those ones. Don't think he went to any of those, right? No, I don't think he did he?
Did he kicked out, was he? Or did he ever get in?
He
never got in.
Yeah,
His
he never got
paintings
in.
were refused.
There you go, man.
Stalin went to college.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
There you
No,
go.
he didn't though.
No, he didn't even believe in it.
No, he didn't. No, I can't get into that. This guy, I was trying to find out where he currently works. I think he works in Oxford. So
Currently?
I think. Yeah, no. He's a doctorate fellow of University of Oxford. So there you go. He's not.
Sorry, did you say Oxford or Oxforb?
No, Oxford. No, this is a legit guy.
Okay.
Legit, right?
All right. Okay. No, I just wanted to clear that up. The reason I say that is because I think this is the most solid episode we've had in a long time, where I'm actually quite excited about it. Like, where I'm thinking, wow, this could be really true.
I've won in probably a few. Well, I don't know when it will come out, but we'll be recording in a few weeks' time. That will scare the living shit out of you. But
yeah, if you can time that correctly, maybe when the days get longer.
But this one, I thought this one is food for thought, right?
Yeah.
So
destructive, painful, existential crisis, food for thought.
I bet when you heard me say that, I started not believing it, and by the end I thought, fuck. I bet you thought Roger's an idiot.
Well, I mean, I didn't go straight there.
Yeah, but you thought something along those lines.
I thought something's up.
Yeah. And then by the end, you said, oh shit, I'm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. But I just want do we have theories on this?
We do, yeah.
Fuck. I was hoping we kind of didn't.
Why?
Because the information you've given me so far I can deal with, but I feel like the next bout of information might send me over the edge.
Okay. So the old theories, we'll crack into them there. One of these, I think, will absolutely send your brain melting. You won't like it one bit. You'll actually want to like gloss over it.
Okay.
But we'll ease into something. We'll ease into like the simplest one. Simplest one is that we're basically in like an alien video game or simulation thing.
Okay.
So hyper advanced alien civilization. We're a simulation they've made. Maybe humans are extinct. And we are the remnants of a simulation by these extraterrestrial archaeologists. This is what they do. They found a human bone.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And then what they'd do is they'd create the civilization to see where it goes, to see what they can learn about us, and to see what technology and stuff they can get out of us by basically running a simulation over entire civilization.
Yeah.
And then they can discover everything about us.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So like that to me sounds plausible.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah, so imagine that, like aliens land down on a planet, they find a few bones, right? And they drill in, they take the DNA or an RNA or whatever the fuck's in a bone, and then they put it in their supercomputers, and boom, fucking simulation.
In like a floppy disk, and then you've got a simulation going.
Yeah.
I love that.
Huge simulation. I've skipped one or two steps along the way there, but...
And how does it work for us then? Like, do we exist in real time? Like, as in, if they fast forward a simulation, which I assume they do, they're not going to wait and a couple of million years. So, like, do we feel the effects of fast forward?
Well, Dennis, have you ever felt like a day's gotten away from you?
Oh.
But no, my genuine answer to that is that I feel like it's probably along the lines of it's ran sped up, but they've programmed us to perceive it at normal time.
Yeah. That's very scary. So if they press play on a simulation, another one of us gets created, or another world, universe gets created, and everything happens in it, and our perception of it is that it's real time.
Yeah.
Constantly, every time they press play.
Yeah. Or here's something even more chilling for you. Maybe not even chilling, but the aliens that have made the simulation, they have such a fundamentally different grasp and understanding of time that us running it real time is sped up to them.
Okay, all right.
They're such long termists
Yeah.
that they're just like, spin up a reality there for a few billion years.
Okay, yeah. No, I understand. That's very scary as well. That bad civilizations and stuff, depending on their advancement, have different time perceptions.
Yeah.
Good God. Do you know, I've got a cool theory, though.
Go on.
That we're in a simulation and humans have been wiped out, but the simulation is still running.
Oh.
Like, as in we wiped ourselves out, but we have this simulation running.
So the outside reality is
gone. Like there's two versions of it. Maybe we uploaded ourselves digitally because we were about to wipe ourselves out, or else the world was about to go under.
Yeah.
And then we just create a simulation, or there's a simulation running, and in the meantime we wiped ourselves out. I think with the Matrix thing, just back to that for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm happy to go back to the Matrix.
I think it's more believable that we're not kept in, like, you know, the egg sacs and whatever.
The pods and stuff.
You know, like that our consciousness is just created in the simulation.
Yeah.
Is everyone in the Matrix, like, according to that movie, is everyone actually in a pod?
No. There are some people like the Oracle that are just programmed.
Oh, yeah, but like, let's say, Smith and all these guys. You know, like, as in every person walking around, let's say, in the street next to Neo, are they actually people in pods?
Pretty much, yeah. The most of them.
Most of them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I don't know if that answers it, but cool.
No, I think that's the case, but I think that there's stuff that's not totally defined in the world of the Matrix, where there's potential that you could have a kid, and you might not be having a kid in real life. It's just a simulation of having a kid. So that kid could grow. You know, that kid could grow up, etc.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that there's some wiggle room there, but it's easier to just say they're all pods.
How are kids born in the Matrix?
They extract the semen and they.
I'll just make them.
Yeah.
Okay, but is that based on how your life turns out in the simulation, though? So they go like, you know, egg sac A19 and egg sac B29 are forming a relationship. Please extract semen and put it in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
They've never thought about this.
Oh, Dennis, I can tell you they have, and you don't want to see what they come up with. Right? So next one, Dennis, is, we touched on it already, the ancestor simulation. Now, this is the idea that future humanity would build simulations. Maybe there's a fucking a Denso 579 in the future, and a Rigoro 996, right? Future robot android versions of ourselves, and they want to revisit their DNA donors who led to them being created. So they spin up an old ancestor simulation to see what were they like. Oh, they're podcasting again. I
do not have the brain power to think of what I'm about to say, right?
All right.
But maybe we can bridge the gap together.
Right.
If you see a video of yourself, that person in the video has a perception when they're in that video. Mm-hmm. So is that the same kind of perception as a simulation?
When you're being videoed, so you're saying...
No, like, as in, if you watch a video, like, you feel like it's imagery, right? Like, it's just images, which it is, but that person in the video does have a perception. Like, it's a different person to you, right? So, is that person existing in a different world?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think maybe it's more akin to... I think, let's say a better... Or not better, but like a different take on this that maybe might help us find common ground is, are you saying if you're playing Mario Kart and you're racing your own ghost in Mario Kart, does that ghost have like a different perception of reality of the future you beating it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I can probably agree with you.
But like, are we just existing in a simulation and this is just a recording? So we're just the person in the video now.
So that we're, even outside of our consciousness, we are always bound to repeat what we were going to do at any given moment in time.
Oh, God, not really. That's worse.
No?
No, I just
have you turned on a few videos where you've surprised yourself, have you? You've done something different this time.
I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect him to go left. He usually goes right. No, I just mean conceptually, like, as in to try and have... Because if we are a simulation, we're basically a recording in some of these theories, yeah?
Yeah, I think...
Because we don't have free will in a simulation.
No, not exactly, but it would be...
Okay, what I'm trying to say
It would be a game theory,
With these simulations,
Yeah.
are they going to end up different every time? Or are they just looking to see how things played out?
Okay, I finally got where you're coming from now. That's a good question. I would say the way I've thought about it is that they just want to get a snapshot of what they would have been like. So they're not necessarily just repeating. They're not just working out a biopic.
Yeah. So in that sense, then though, there's so many different ways that I suppose like if they went back far enough, humanity might not start. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
And they might get a completely different picture of it. So it might be quite unreliable. Like let's say orangutans like become the boys.
Yeah.
And it's a completely different civilization. Now, obviously, there's the same there's the same elements there, like fire and all the rest of it. So, like, they're probably going to go after those things, but who knows what to do? Maybe they're orangutans, the surfing orangutans that live in the water. But it's just that there's so many different permutations or whatever that the simulation might be hard to start.
Yeah.
Like, where did they start the simulation? That's the thing. Like how did they they get our DNA or whatever and they crank up a simulation? Do they start from... I don't know.
Well, have you ever heard the philosophical idea of the fact of that you can only ever be certain that this day exists?
No.
Well, so basically, you can only ever be certain that this day exists and what you're experiencing at this moment exists, and that there's nothing to 100% prove that yesterday isn't just an implanted memory with a sophisticated set of simulations built up around you to make you feel as if everything that happened yesterday happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's terrifying as well. Thank you for that one.
No worries.
That's great. I've had that feeling before,
yeah,
but I've never had it articulated, so it'll constantly be in my head.
Okay, well that's fine. But the scary thing about ancestor simulations, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that it just seems so plausible that we would eventually make one. And of course, obviously, the big thing of that trilemma, the one in the kitchen and stuff, is that the big question is that once we've acknowledged it's likely we would someday try to make one of these, then it's just so much more likely that we exist within one or could exist within one.
I mean, I think it has to exist.
Yeah,
it has to exist, but whether we're in one, that's the scary one. How do we figure that out?
Well, next one, Dennis. Right, next one this is our second to last theory I have listed for you here. This is that we live in a soft simulation. What I've termed a soft simulation. So our reality isn't completely manufactured, but there are parts of our life that are simulated and that we live within some kind of, let's say, augmented reality.
Can you go further?
So it's a bit like kind of the movie They Live.
Okay.
So I'll give you my own personal take on this, which will probably give you a bit of an insight. Imagine... we look up at space and we just see stars and all that stuff. We've flown to the moon and all that stuff. All that old hat, right?
We have flown to the moon.
Potentially. No, we haven't. We flew there, never landed.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Right. Well, actually, it ties into what I'm talking about now. Supposedly we've landed there.
Okay.
It really does. What if we are living within an alien zoo and actually the sky and everything beyond our planet to keep us tricked that we're just living on a normal planet. That's all simulated. That's a simulation. So we are on our planet, our planet form, but the entirety of what's out there is just simulated, augmented to keep us unaware of
which would explain UFOs.
Yes, they're obviously people checking in on us or holidaying and stuff.
All right, so then that would also lend to the theory that we will only be able to discover so much outside our own planet before we're stopped.
Yeah.
If we are in a zoo.
Yeah, and even to go back to what I was talking about with the moon, they faked the moon landing without us realizing it.
The aliens did?
Yeah.
How did they do that?
We thought we were landing on a moon. It was a simulation moon.
Oh. Okay, so then we're not actually traveling anywhere.
Yeah.
And so what do the aliens get out of it? Just to study us, is it?
Yeah, a lot of aliens think that it's an outdated concept. You shouldn't really have them anymore.
Well, maybe it's more of a wildlife park.
Yeah, it's more of a human park. And at the end of the day, the kids love them.
Yeah, and it's a good day out for everyone.
Yeah. So, and if we didn't have this, the humans would just be extinct.
All right, so there. Okay, so that you think that some aliens believe that, but we're not growing up in captivity necessarily, are we?
We are in a captivity, but we are unable to even see our own fences.
Yeah. So, but if you had a couple of lions and you put them into a place that was the size of their own original territory,
Yeah.
that would effectively be not really like they were growing up in captivity, because they are theoretically in there and kept in there. But if it's as big, then they grow the same as they would in the wild.
Well,
right?
that's an interesting philosophical question, because essentially, I guess what you're getting to at that point is that is captivity defined by the quality of captivity that you have?
I assume, yeah, quality, bringing in size and like land and everything.
So if lions lived within the greatest, the greatest, like you built a perfect replica, a replica so large that the lions would never reach the edges of their own internal sanctuary. Does that make their captivity any less real?
I think that they're fine then.
Well, no, they're fine. They're fine, but it doesn't mean they're not in captivity.
No, they technically are in captivity,
Yeah.
but what difference does it make to them?
Well, you could say that for the simulation.
But that's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, if we are growing up in that world, we'll only really hit those fences once we get into serious technological advancement, right?
But will we even be able to get there? Maybe the physics breaks down at a certain point as a failsafe for the simulation.
Yeah. I prefer the zoo,
Okay.
because at least we're alive then. Just one more thing before we go. There was, maybe it's They Live, but you can correct me or not. But was there a movie where like it was kind of the same thing, where the world was actually destroyed, like it was actually wrecked, but everything looked fine. I can't really. I could be making it up, to be honest.
That sounds familiar, but I don't think it's They Live. They Live is like where
they're just weird looking lads.
Yeah, and that they're all of the posters actually say like consume and stuff like that.
Well, maybe that is it. That probably is it then.
Yeah, but what you're talking about does sound interesting, though. That you're tricking people into thinking that reality is better.
Yeah, like the whole place is wrecked and everything is just like almost like blocks of houses and blocks of everything's grey walled, like just brutalism. But then it's painted differently then with like a reality sheen of like it looks exactly like our world looks now.
Do you know what I'll say to the lads is, if their goal is to make the simulation as nice as possible, crank it up. Something's gone wrong, lads.
Get going.
Yeah.
There's spit all over our streets.
Yeah, I would just I'd maybe just tweak it up a notch or two, see what happens then. I thought I'd leave you, Dennis, on the absolute like most existential dread
thank you.
thing that I come up with. This is even potentially not exactly on like in line with the simulation theory, but I thought it was interesting, and specifically when I found it, I thought that is going to make Dennis jump off a bridge. It is
nice, cool.
It is.
Said that with a smile on your face.
Yeah, it is insane, right? Actual reality is beyond our comprehension. Mm-hmm. And we're merely parts of a cosmic computer, unable to even fathom what's going on. So our entire reality is actually just, for whatever reason, the internal process of a cosmic computer that beings beyond our comprehension are using to...
So we're just cogs in a wheel.
Yeah. And we're not even aware of it. We just have, we're going about our day. For whatever reason, us recording a podcast, that's part of what completes these calculations.
That's very scary. And cogs in a wheel isn't even a phrase. I think that that's very, very scary. I do think, like, let's say, right, this is a simplified version, kind of to the side, but it's like there's birds and fish and like weird shit out there that they see like more colors and stuff that we cannot see.
Yeah.
So like there are definitely different perceptions out there. So you're saying then that all of this stuff is just created within a machine to work out whatever it needs to work out, and we're just part of it.
Yeah. It's not quite the simulation thing. It's kind of akin to imagine if the tiny semiconductors within your computer had their own consciousness. Would they be aware that they are just semiconductors, or would they just be thinking, reality is just, I'm meeting up with Derek and I'm sending an electrical charge from this side to this side? Would they even be aware of that?
Well, I think maybe. It depends, though, because we're looking at it from a really human point of view, Like, I think when I start thinking about that, I'm like, oh, well, if they were computer chips, they wouldn't be happy being computer chips. And they'd have to, like, dream themselves out of it and turn into humans.
But they think being a computer chip is just, like, they find what they're doing as banal as we find, like, pouring a cup of water and drinking it while you're crying.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering where we come out of. That's what I'm wondering. Where the computer chips, like, manage to make us in our human form and stuff.
What do you mean? We're organic computers.
Yeah, but why do we exist like we exist? Like, why are we why do they have to do it?
We can't fathom it because they're so beyond our comprehension.
Well, for fuck's sake, then there's no point in me asking questions.
Dennis, you can't fathom it.
Oh, great, brilliant.
You can't fathom it, Dennis.
Well, maybe I'll try and fathom it.
Stop trying to fathom.
I love fathoming.
So where'd you end up at the end of that one there, Dennis?
Scared. I did a little stomach flip a couple of times, but I really like it. I really like it. I'm glad we did this an early Saturday morning. If you did this as an evening podcast episode, I would have been really mad. I may have even refused to do it. But I'm just really hoping by about 8-9 o'clock tonight that I forget that you told me this stuff. It's very cool, though. I love that. That's changed my whole thinking, that those 3 sets of...
trilemma?
Yeah, the trilemma. That's really changed how I thought about things. So I would say, yes, someone exists in a simulation, and it might be you, listener. It might be you. We just might be part of that thing to convince people as well that they're not in the Matrix.
Yeah, and do you know what? If we are in a simulation, I think, why would it even matter for you to give us a 5-star rating? That would cost you nothing for living in a simulation, to go on whatever podcast app and give us 5 stars.
Or let's say in one of these things the aliens can listen in and to us, and which I'm sure they can. Otherwise, no point really in the zoo thing. And they're listening in right now. Can you just simulate a few listeners to go out there and tell everyone about the podcast and grow it even more? Because I have to say, it's grown pretty quick. Thanks very much for everyone for listening, and especially to this episode. I've been Denis Len. Denis Len 3D if you want to catch me on Twitter or Instagram, and you are
Roger O'Sullivan at Roger O'Comedy on Instagram.
Yeah, or you can catch him in the Leisureplex in Cork at the weekends, hustling pool.
Yeah, hustling bowling. I'd say we'll end it there.
Do you want to look? We'll call it a day.
Will we?
Yeah, let's shut down the computer.
Simulation off. Love you. Bye. I'm drafting a draft